Hello everybody and welcome to my bedroom renovation. I bought this house that was straight out of the 70s, which may be a little bit hard to tell. And this room came with a beautiful shade of pink with blue carpet. A very bold choice from the previous owner, and I was very sorry to remove it, but I had to make some room for my own taste, which just wasn't quite this. I did remove these sliding closet doors that later on we could frame out a nice little walk-in. It's only a 4x5 closet, but with the right organization, we could make it work. And then removing this carpet was deeply satisfying. It's a very sad day when your subfloor is nicer than the finished floor. For the entire house reno, I did rent a 40-yard waste bin that was in the driveway. And believe it or not, we actually managed to fit everything from the house into that bin. I was pretty happy about that. There was a lot of stomping involved to get it to fit in there, but we made it work. As far as the purpose of this renovation goes, this is a house that we are renovating so that I could live in. And in fact, at the time of recording this, I have already been here for a couple months now, and it has been fantastic. Now, I don't plan on living here for too long, maybe a couple of years. Of course, we'll see how things go. Plans don't always work out the way they were originally intended to, but it's not going to be a long-term home for me, or at least that's the current logic. Nonetheless, we do still want to make it really nice and also do some fun features that you wouldn't do in a traditional flip, but that isn't what this is. Right here, we are just framing out the new closet wall. So we're just going to give it a very basic, I think 28-inch rough opening for a door here and get that into place. Make sure it's all plumb and square, or as square as you can be when working with existing framing that was really wonky. This is a semi-detached house, and call me crazy, but I love privacy. The wall you see now is the shared wall with the neighbors, so what we're doing is just framing out a false wall. All this takes is a few 2x4s and some soundproofing insulation, and just like that, we really have a ton more of privacy. I am really glad that we did this step here, because in any of the rooms in which we did this, I can hear zero sounds from the neighboring side. It really didn't take long at all or cost that much to do, and man, was it ever worth it. Another positive to this is that we now had a straight and plumb wall in the house, which didn't really exist anywhere else, so that was nice. And on top of that, you can see we ran some electrical. Might have a video coming on that, we'll see. But we did rewire the entire house. It had aluminum wiring, so we redid it. And having things like this to be able to run the new mechanical items really made things a whole lot easier. And now just getting in that rock wool safe and sound insulation, you do just want to cover up if you're using this stuff because it is very itchy. At this point in the home reno, we were boarding, and this was a really good day because this meant that all of the mechanical items were addressed, all of the changes to layout were done, and while this bedroom didn't have a ton of big changes, it was still really nice to have some new drywall up into position. You can see we did just put an Ethernet and power on that back wall there for a TV, and then a little switch there for a closet light. Now I gotta tell you guys, while this bedroom renovation was straightforward enough, doing an entire house at the same time was quite overwhelming. There were points during the process in which I was dealing with a lot of stress and experiencing sleepless nights because of it. I remember one moment of feeling like I had gotten in way over my head and wasn't sure if it was all going to work out. This made me realize I needed to do something to help manage this stress. And of course, dealing with stress, whether it's related to work or your personal life, is something many of us struggle with. That's where BetterHelp, the sponsor of today's video, comes in. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. First, you go to their site, answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles just like yours. You can do it all from your phone or computer via phone call, video chat, or messaging, however you feel most comfortable. It's the easiest possible way to start talking to a therapist. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/workinwithwolken or choose Workin' with Wolken during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. The house had the lovely benefit of these beautifully painted popcorn ceilings, which were a nightmare to get rid of. Popcorn ceilings unpainted aren't too bad, but when they're painted, they're so much more difficult. However, here we got the drywall sander with a 24 grit paper, which I didn't even know they made, and it did actually do the trick. It was just rough on the shoulders is all. Now, typically with these projects, Sebastian does all of the mudding work. However, there was just so much in this house that I did actually hop on the old knife and pan here for a couple days, maybe. I still don't know if I actually helped him or not. I might have just made his life more difficult. We may never know. But then we could move on to these ceilings, which was really satisfying. We did seal them prior to this, but I'm just rolling on mud, and then Sebastian's on drywall stilts, smoothing everything with a trowel. And this was really satisfying and made the house start feeling a little bit more like a home. So we didn't cover the floors. That might be obvious. And this was all planned. I think this was the right way to do it. Just rented this drum sander for like 4 hours or whatever. It only took a couple of hours of really satisfying work to get these subfloors nice and pretty. And on that topic of subfloors, we did screw down every single joist line. Just some flooring screws. We went around throughout the house, screwed everything down. I hate squeaky floors. You hate squeaky floors. No more squeaky floors. Just screw it down. It doesn't take that long. Screws are cheap. I still don't know if this was a really necessary step, but we did it anyways. The existing subfloors here were all 1/2 inch thick and just felt really bouncy. So throughout the house, we just applied some 3/8 thick plywood on top of them. We glued and used crown staples to adhere them down. And this really made things feel a whole lot more solid after the fact. But again, was this necessary? I mean, I don't know. I'm just a guy. We then primed everything and painted the ceilings. I don't have the footage for this room specifically, unfortunately, but that was all done. And then with that, we could start getting all the lighting in. So just drilling out 6 pot lights for this room here. And then I'm in the attic above. Sebastian's just poking the stick up to show me where the holes are through all of the insulation. And I can just shove a wire down, looping each of the lights. These are just 4-inch pot lights, and they were set at the color temperature 4000K. My preferred color temperature is 3500K, but we didn't have that option with these ones specifically, so 4000K it is, and just put them on a dimmer. That way, all your needs can be met. And then getting this ceiling fan into place, which is really nice to have. I think if you're living, in anywhere where you get cold winters, hot summers, it's nice to have a fan. This one's by Drio, works wonderfully. And then we can paint the walls. Sebastian here going at it with Alabaster. It's a Sherwin-Williams paint. Really nice color. It's got the hint of warmth in it. It's just an off-white. And this is the emerald line in a satin finish. He's got the 18-inch roller to really get it on there. And I was really happy with this color choice. It turned out beautifully. And the accent wall. I really love accent walls, especially for bedrooms. I think they just work really well. This color is Dried Time by Sherwin-Williams, again in the emerald line satin finish. And we will be adding some molding eventually, but we did just want to get that base layer on. Makes the whole painting process a lot easier that way. And then installing the flooring, and this was really fun because it really transformed the entire house. You'll notice we did self-level a few spots in the floor. We'll touch more on that in a future video. It was a whole thing. But this flooring here is Taiga's Curate in Oak Natural. It's a 9-inch by 60-inch plank, really high quality stuff, 7mm thick, 20 mil wear layer, I believe. Really happy with this product. We didn't cover it at all during the renovation, in fact, and not a single scratch on it. I couldn't be more happy with this. It feels solid because we did level out the floors so nicely, and it runs seamlessly. Not a single transition throughout the house. We even used it on the stairs. Really happy with this product. It works for me, someone that's hard on the things they own and the spaces they live in. To pick out a pattern for the accent wall, I did just kind of want to know the rough locations of the dressers, the bed frame. I didn't actually have anything picked out yet, so I was just using generic sizes. It somehow did work out in the end, but I did also want to rough in a little extra electrical. So here, just a plug and a switch above each of the bedside tables. I'm just going to cut them out with this multi-tool here. And because I did put a plug so close to each of those spots, I was able to just jump power off of each plug and then rough in a couple boxes. I always knew that I was gonna do this eventually. We didn't do it at the roughen stage though, because I wasn't exactly sure what kind of layout I was gonna go for, whether I was gonna do pendants, sconces, any lights on the wall for that matter. We waited until now to retrofit some boxes, but it was easy enough to do it. Now the fun part, the accent wall. And I really love this. The bottom piece here is just 5.5 inch by 5/8 inch thick MDF. I didn't have a piece long enough to do the whole width of that wall, so I did a scarf joint, just glued them together, and then Brad nailed everything into the wall. And then for the rest of the pieces, I got a value pack of baseboard from Home Depot. It was like under 40 bucks maybe. 10 pieces of 1/2 inch thick baseboard, 3.5 inches thick. It's just regular square stock, really simple stuff. Again, scarf joint at the top there to make it all work. And then I could start plugging in the pieces along the wall. I did the two sides first. And with that, I could just go onto an online board and batten calculator to figure out the spacing for the rest of my pieces and make everything work. Again, really happy with how this all turned out. I measured everything, cut all my pieces, and then just put them all in, just using a little bit of adhesive on the back of each piece. Nothing crazy, probably not even a necessary step, but I did it regardless. Brad nailing everything into place. Used a little bit of wood filler over all of the brad nail holes and seams where any of the pieces met. And then once that dried, of course, could sand it all down. Alongside all of the edges, going ahead and caulking every single corner here. I am using the DAP crown caulking, much higher quality stuff, less prone to cracking than the regular stuff is. And then a little bit of prep, some tape, some plastic, some floor covering. We could spray the entire wall, did 2 coats, and it turned out beautifully. Was really happy with this. Again, dried time by Sherwin-Williams. Worked really well with the floor, in my opinion. Just love it. Finally, I guess I figured out a height for these sconces and that I was doing sconces after all. So just cutting out a couple octagon boxes, and then I can run a wire from this hole down to that switch below, roughen the box. And I did do this so that it would be centered between the boards here. For any of the casing, any miters, we do glue up beforehand using CA glue. So it's just a 2-part instant bond glue. Great stuff. And just firing a couple brad nails as well, just to future-proof it. We don't want these to open up in the future. And as you can see, it makes for a really easy install. You can just install it as one piece. Simple as that. And then getting in some curtains. Ended up changing this to gold as per my sister's instructions. You can see just getting those into place, and man, starting to look good. This is the part of the project where I actually kind of start to lose interest, and that may surprise some of you because I know for so many people, furnishing, decor, that's the fun stuff for them, but not so much for me. I like the renovation sides of things. I like framing, mechanical rough-ins, layouts, all that kind of stuff. This, I struggle with so much. I just don't really get it, and I was so incredibly thankful to have my sister come out and help me do all this stuff. So pretty much all the decor and furnishings you see, you know, my sister had a lot of input on that kind of stuff. I was just kind of there to say, yep, looks good, and let her spend my money. So that was a fun process, and I'm really glad that she was here to help with that. And there we have it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I do have more videos on this house coming out. I think we got an office, kitchen, living room, entryway, stairs kind of thing. Whole bunch more on this house coming out, as well as like a longer in-depth whole reno process. As far as this bedroom goes, I mean, this easily could have been done within a week, but it was a part of the entire home reno, which was about a 3 to 4 month process. Anyways, that's all I got for this one. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you have a beautiful day.